Hello, I'm the Dean of Teaching and Learning in the College of Law and Management Studies at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Part of my mandate is to increase access to the university, increase pass rates, and increase the throughput. So my interest is to have as many students graduate in the shortest time possible. When students come to us, essentially they acquire content knowledge. The content knowledge relates to the theories, the principles, the concepts that are unique to a given field. So within the College of Law and Management, the unique fields are law, supply chain and management, business leadership, taxation, economics, public administration, just to mention a few. Now, to show competence in this content knowledge, students have to be academically literate. When they are academically literate, then they are able to verbalize and show competence that they've learned and acquired the content knowledge. Not only to verbalize, but they also need to write down what they have learned and to show that they have competence. But to be academically literate, one needs analytical thinking. They need to use the appropriate terminologies. They need to apply the appropriate syntax or sentence construction. So academic literacy is very crucial to the success of the student and to their acquiring content knowledge, as well as proving competency in this content knowledge. Without it, passing is going to be a very difficult task. So, as Dean of Teaching and Learning, developing academic literacy is important to me because, in my view, it is a springboard to better performance of our students, and it is a springboard to increasing the graduation rates of the college and generally the University of KwaZulu-Natal. So how do we develop academic literacies? It requires that one reads regularly, that one reads widely, that one reads habitually. Not just the content of the disciplines, but also, in fact, especially non-content books. And this is why we have embarked on this book drive, to showcase the value of academic literacy and the role that reading a book can play in increasing academic literacy. As the College Dean of Teaching and Learning, I'm grateful to a number of people that are contributing to this book drive. The DVC, our College Public Relations, the team in the Teaching and Learning Unit. I'm also grateful to the numerous donors who have generously contributed to this book drive. I just want to share with you a few books that I've been reading in the recent past, and also to encourage you through that to perhaps pick one of these or any of the books that you find in the Teaching and Learning Unit. The Kite Runner. This is a writer by the name Khaled Hussein. He writes very interesting pieces about Afghanistan. His books are intuitive, his books are brilliant, they are well written. He has a very wonderful writing style that I would want to encourage you to get to understand. This is a book by the Librarian President, Ellen Johnson. Ellen Johnson reflects on her life as a young woman growing up in war-torn Liberia, and she shares with her readers how she has grown from that kind of life to become the first woman president of the African continent. A beautiful piece to read. Zex Muda is a South African writer. He has written numerous books, and he gives insight into not just rural South Africa, But through this book, he gives us insight into the townships of South Africa and does so in such a humorous manner. Tsitsi Dangarembwa is a Zimbabwean writer, a wonderful young woman writer. She gives us insight into rural Zimbabwe and what it's like growing there. To all students in the College of Law and Management Studies, indeed, to all students of the University of KwaZulu-Natal, I say to you, read a book, it will change your marks. Thank you.
We write books about everything, from fantasies to published dreams. We are endless streams of wordsmiths. Oh, but we never know unless we read. How else do you earn knowledge unless you learn? We might be politically incorrect by wanting our dead hopes to resurrect, suspend our breaths in the nostrils of true freedom, social, economic, spiritual, cultural. We are versed academics that know the antidotes to this pandemic of improper grammar, how let's eat grandma and let's eat grandma is only differentiated by a mark of punctuation called comma. But how else would we know unless we read? How else could we write books about anything?
Have you heard? Have you read? Are you glad? Are you mad? Or perhaps you're just sad and you're red in the face with anger because what you read is not what you heard, and what you heard is not what I said. For what you heard is not what they wrote, and what they wrote has made them presidents. Their words, your antecedents, and you just a resident. You can't imagine a nation wherein they are not kings and you just a thing. Now, if you have read, then here's a thought. Adam's apple stuck on his throat, and one that fell on Newton's head bettered ideas we'd never had. And Stephen Jobs, that bite he had, made for an apple that never goes back. That bad. Leaders are readers, and readers have read how Beethoven's music is painted red, and how my red is not crimson red, how we read red from the sea of reeds, and how punctuation has changed what I said and given this rhyme a golden thread. So get those headphones off your head and get a book and have it read. And in time, with every page you turn, you will grow wiser as you learn.
We read books by African kings about African kings, how they would shake a spear to get a better grasp out in the wilderness hunting. We read books by Shakespeare, the Great Gatsby, just to get a better grasp of the language of the Queen. We read books about African queens who hold this continent on their shoulders and not even flinch. We read books about monsters under our beds we were taught to run from when we were kids. We read books by Biko and Nelson about all the monsters that haunt the African dream. We read books about how Bill Gates started computing, how Zuckerberg started Facebooking, how Nelson started long walking. We read books about the Prince of Peace, the World Wars, and the War Kings. We read books about how Romeo was Julieting. We read books about the shifting of the tectonic plates, mind broadening, the science, the fiction, the liberation, the hope of a reading nation. We read books about everything.
Hello, I'm the coordinator of the Writing Place in the College of Law and Management Studies. The Writing Place is an academic support unit that assists students to develop academic literacy skills. Through our experience with students, we have realized that not only are writing skills crucial to student success, but so are their reading skills. To this end, the college has initiated a book drive to develop a reading library for students in the College of Law and Management Studies. In this way, we hope to encourage students to read a wide variety of genres and not only the academic texts that they might need to succeed. We encourage staff and students to support this book drive to encourage a culture of reading at UKZN, and in this way, to support our students to read to succeed.